Hello and welcome to the Making It podcast. We're here for episode 24. I can't believe it, 24 episodes in.
You say at the
And
start of every episode.
I know I do because I can't believe how quick the weeks go. But I feel like actually, Dan, this week's been not as quick. It feels like it's been quick, but it doesn't. Like it feels like it's been ages since we've done a podcast, and I don't know why. It's only been 7 days. But I've missed you a lot. It's been over a week since I last saw you now, and obviously we're 1 week of like 50 in to this traveling experience. But we were just chatting a bit in the pre-chat there, weren't we, about what we're thinking this week. And we've got a lot of good things that we want to discuss. And you've had a good afternoon already, haven't you? So let's talk about your afternoon so far. But welcome to the episode. How are you doing and what you've been up to today?
I'm good, man. I miss you too, brother. Likewise yourself. I've been doing a bit of gardening this morning, and then for the past hour in the afternoon, I had a coffee after with the people who I did gardening for, and I was just sat in their living room. Shout out Linda and Merv. Had a coffee and was listening to Bob Dylan, and they were telling me about like some of the history, like the music they like, and their history with their like marriage and things like that. And we speak about it a lot, but I think spending time with people who are a little bit older is very important because they've experienced a lot of life, so it's important to gain from them and like listen to what they think about life. And it's just nice to kind of chill out. And like Merv was doing his guitar cymbals and everything when Bob Dylan was on. It was just so like it was just pure, it's wholesome. And when the little birds were coming out in the garden, he was trying to talk to them and stuff. And it's just like it's just so nice to see that. It's like it's interesting because my granddad always mentions it. Like when you get a bit older, like things start to slow down a bit. And obviously, as young people, things go very fast for us. But it is good to slow down, and we've spoke about it before. And my granddad said he likes a slow lifestyle where he lives, and it's just nice to see Merv just like chilling out, just watching the birds, and listen to Bob Dylan. It's like we should be doing more stuff like that a bit more often, rather than getting caught up in things. But how are you anyway, Jay? I know you had a fun night last night, and Ozzy's been chill, but also coaching wise, you've done a lot this week. So let's hear
So
about that and hear about your coaching, mate.
yeah, the week's been interesting, obviously, because earlier in the week was just kind of settling in. Tuesday and Wednesdays were a bit of a blur, but Wednesday night was my first coaching session. Did about 40 minutes of coaching, kind of just got myself used to being back, but I was still a bit tired, so I couldn't do a lot. Well, 5 minutes before the session starts, I'm doing 1v1s with my mum's friend's kid, and I'm doing good. I'm feeling confident. I'm just enjoying kicking the ball about. It's a lovely, like the sky was just a beautiful sort of like pinky orange. It was such a nice day. And mate, I went in for this 1v1 and I've just gone over on my ankle. And I'm like, you are joking. I've literally just come back from it. So I'm fuming. Like I'm the whole coaching session. I was happy that I'm there, but I'm like deep down really angry. Like that I've injured myself already. And it's just put me in a bad mood. But about 45 minutes in, we leave because my mum's friend's got two kids who are on at the same club, but different age groups. So she had to jump from one game to the other. So she went to our session, then we had to drive to Byron Bay, which was like a half an hour, 40-minute drive to go and watch her other kid play. His match got cancelled and it was just a bit of a palaver. We had a burrito and it kind of cheered me up a bit. Friday came along and that was the next day we were coaching. The game's on Saturday, so Friday had to be a little bit more relaxed, but it wasn't. It was really, really intense. All the lads put in so much effort, and on Saturday we won 9-4, which was
Nice.
amazing. I got my own shirt. It's
What
actually
age group's that?
it's under 14s. Actually, on the Friday as well, after our training session, which was really good, we did a load of different drills. I was offered because Mikey, the guy who coaches, is the manager of the under 14s team, is a coach on the under 18s. And he said, come along, I'll get you a jacket and you can come and coach the under 18s against Musgrave, I think it was. They lost 4-1. The ref was just wild, man. It was a crazy game. Really good first half, and then second half just kind of dipped off. But I'm loving the fact that every time I turn up there's a real positivity about like, do you want to come and help out? There's no awkwardness. It's like, do you want to come and help out? Do you want to
No,
do
you've
this?
been
Do you want
getting
to do that?
stuck
I'm just
in.
like, and I'm just doing it. I'm just like, yeah, fuck it. And they're like, pardon me, sorry, let's do it. Um, and he's like, you're not going to be back home till 11:30. So on the Friday night, I'm home at like 10 past 11. I made some food, and and I'm up at 5 a.m. to go to Gold Coast again, and to go and coach for for the game, and obviously we won 9-4, which was amazing. Second half wasn't so good, but won 9-4, and one of the kids scored a goal, but he didn't have a great game, and he came off crying, and it kind of got me thinking about like confidence, because I don't think that when you coach the adults, because one of the adults didn't have a great game on the under-18s game, but he kind of just swore it off, he was just swearing and just kind of being annoyed at himself. Whereas this kid, they take it so differently, and he was really upset. So kind of got me thinking about different things about coaching. It's not just about tactics and things on the pitch. It's also like, how do you make someone feel after they've had a
So
bad
man
game?
management, Mo, for me, that's the most important part, I think.
Yeah, and yeah, and the thing I do is you take that person to a side privately, not to make it like to embarrass them but take him to a side and kind of not always just remind them of the positives. Like anything in life, you shouldn't just remind people of the positives. You've got to face the fact of what you're feeling, you know, and then you can work out, right, okay, well, what do we do now? How do we kind of not fix what you're feeling, but how do we kind of improve, from here? But it was just, this week has been the most rewarding experience, and Sunday I got to watch my first Aussie rules football match. What a weird game. Like, what a weird sport. Just this bloke blows a massive horn at the start of the game, and all these 36 young lads just run onto this pitch in like vests, and they're just like running at each other the whole game, just kicking this ball everywhere, and then kicking it between like these rugby posts to score goals. It's so weird. But yeah, this country's just insane. It's insane. The coaching's been the biggest part of my week. I've loved it the most. But just the experience of going on, a few nights out, having different food and just meeting different people has been incredible. But I am missing home. I am missing home, and I think it's like so tough being away because I'm really enjoying it. But I know that in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start feeling like it's dragging me away a bit. But how's your week been? Because I know we've not really spoken too much this week. To be fair, I know we've spoken on the odd occasion, but you've been busy with a few things.
Yeah, my week's been good. Been in the pub a few times, which was nice. I realised just how much I love working at the pub. I really
Yeah,
like it there. I love the people, and I always look forward to a shit. I remember you once saying to me, and I think about it quite often. It's like just for 6, 7 hours, this is your life. Do you know what I mean? And I love getting myself involved and working there. So I've been working in the pub a few times. Wednesday was a good day for me. Wednesday was a lot of stuff going on, so I did a bit of gardening, and then I got myself over to Notts Trent Uni for an open day, a master's open day. So it was all about postgraduate stuff. And obviously, I'm only in my second year, but I want to kind of look into the options of where I'm going to do my master's. I'm very heavily set on Northumbria, but why not look at where else I could go? And Nottingham's local. So I got chatting to a lady there, Julia. She was really nice. She told me about the course, told me about her life in sports psychology and what she does. So it's what I was talking about last week, trying to build some connections in Nottingham. That was a good way to do it. And I feel like if I wanted to now, I could ping her a message and ask her a couple of questions. So it was nice to meet her. And then I started my coaching with Ryan and Beeston. That was really good. So I enjoyed that. So Wednesday was good. I feel like this week I've done what I said I was going to do on the last episode, which is start to get myself involved in Nottingham and, doing things that I do in Newcastle and Nottingham, the exciting things. Did a podcast yesterday. So we got a guest coming out this week on Saturday talking about life after uni, Eve. I grew up knowing her because my family are really good friends with their family. So that was good. And I just said to myself, like, let's get more guests on. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, we've spoken about a couple of people which we're going to get on and stuff. So, I've really been enjoying it this week. I feel like the life I feel like I have in Newcastle, I've been bringing to Nottingham, which is nice. Now, you said you wanted to speak about, I'm talking about Newcastle and Nottingham, but with you right now, it's Australia and Nottingham. You said being in a new environment is kind of giving yourself like a few realizations about particularly like confidence and stuff. So speak to the listeners about that. Stop right there. This is Daniel talking here, and I know right now you're enjoying the episode, but I've just got to give a really big shout out to something, and it's Making It Moments. That's where our guests are. That's where the people we bring on to talk about their journeys are. Go and listen to Making It Moments. Go find them on our Spotify and YouTube. Find clips on our socials. Making It Poddy, Making It Moments.
Well, I think I have discovered that I do do care about people's opinions a little bit more than I thought I did. Because the things I don't really wish to do at home, maybe dress in a certain way, or and it's nothing too crazy, obviously, but like, or even going up to people in certain situations and asking certain things. I've kind of out here just done it. If I want to know something or if I want to introduce myself to someone, I'm a little bit because I'm a quite an outgoing and confident person, but there's some situations where I am uncomfortable, and in introducing myself to someone is a little bit daunting. Whereas out here, I've felt just natural, like I can do this. It's fine. I went into the town centre of Byron Bay on Thursday, I think, Thursday or Friday. And so I went for a coffee with my mum's friend's mum, Hazel. She's lovely. She lives on her own now because her husband passed away a couple of years ago. And spending time with her is quite nice because she's obviously living on her own. And I know how that feels because my grandma lives on her own now. So she's kind of my like grandma in Australia, that's how I kind of see it. And she's also one of my grandma's best friends. So that kind of works out quite nicely to see her. So we went for a coffee and then she was like, oh, I need to go shopping in town. It's not a big place, but there's like a little Aldi there. So we went in there, we got some fruit, some other house bits and whatever else. And when we were leaving, I said, just leave me here. I'm just going to walk around for a bit. She's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah. I've got no wallet. I've got no headphones. So I can't get a beer and I can't listen to music. So those are two things I like to do to kill awkwardness, like socially. If I'm feeling a bit awkward, just chuck music on or I'll just go for a beer and just relax. Well, I went into the town. I started off near the beach and I kind of worked my way down. I went to Quicksilver, like a surfing shop. I got a new hat. I didn't really want the hat, but I kind of thought I'll get a beanie and I'll just get speaking to the person that's on the reception, on the desk. And I did. And I kind of asked her, a little bit about the place and different places I can go. And she'd recommended a couple of shops around. So I went and get some like food or whatever from one of those shops. Spoke to one of those people. Is there a clothes shop you'd recommend? Okay, I'll go to that clothes shop. And I kind of worked my way around based off people's recommendations. And I went to this one shop and they managed to convince me to get all these clothes.
Are you
It's
doing
quite
this without a wallet?
because I've got my phone.
Oh, okay.
I'm also meant wallet for my ID, because they're super strict on it here. So I went to a couple of shops, got some stuff, and I was just walking around. I think I was out there for like 3 or 4 hours, just walking around, having drinks, just sitting on the beach, just doing nothing, just speaking to people, asking about things. And I had no idea, but there's a massive like Latin culture here in Byron Bay. So like they do like secret underground like Spanish raves and stuff like that.
You
And it's
better
like
get yourself there.
I'm going to do it. But she said you need to find a way in because like no one has a direct contact. You just need to speak to someone at the right time. So she was
That's gonna
like,
be a
right,
good side quest, bro.
huge side quest. So she said to me, stay in a hostel for one night. Even if you live here, just stay in a hostel for one night, meet loads of people. And they do these 3-day trips away into the mountains where these are just Spanish people that just play Spanish music, have barbecues and all this stuff. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is I'm on a huge side quest run at the moment. I've got loads of stuff to do this week in terms of like, more coaching to start with. I've got to go and set up my tax number at the bank. So this week's more about getting myself ready to start
So
working
how does
again.
that apply to your confidence?
Well, because going out and just speaking to random people, breaking through that barrier of it being a bit awkward because I don't know anyone. And I suppose the job stuff doesn't really. That's just me going on a fun
You said
tangent.
you've noticed like going out into Australia, you care about what people think more than you thought. What kind of made you realise that?
Just because, again, I was like, not really, some situations I wasn't really feeling like me saying hello to someone or asking them something is something I can do. Because I'm kind of worried about what they'll think if I do it. Like, if I go and approach someone, like the last 4 days before I went for food with my friends in town, and I approached this Japanese woman, like to ask if she can take a photo of me and my friends because I'm leaving. Mate, she just ran off. She goes, "Whoa, no, no, no," and then ran off. And I'm like, "Where was this bus stop?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that kind of knocked me a bit. I was like, "Okay, crap," I don't know what to do. But out here, I just go up to someone and speak to them, and like they're just dead chill. They'll just help you out, And I feel like actually that's the same as everywhere. I've just not been confident enough to in some situations kind of go and just speak to someone and ask them something. So just kind of discovering that it's all right just to reach out to someone and to kind of be yourself a little bit more in terms of just doing what you want to do. I can't really put it all into words properly, but like if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Something I've noticed this week is in a lot of my days, it feels like I'm anticipating something to happen. It feels like I'm waiting for something to happen a lot of the time. And I've
Mm,
had this feeling before. I can't particularly like put a finger on why, but let's just say I'm working at the pub. Like I'd be kind of thinking like I'm kind of waiting. I don't know. I don't really know what to happen. Like it just feels like I'm not as present, and it
right.
makes me realize like how important it is to be present. Now, I think it's more I'm waiting for something like I don't know exciting to happen. Let's say when I'm in Newcastle, I've been so used to going for coffees with the head of football or meeting someone with sports psychology or doing something exciting with my friends. And I'm not saying I haven't got that at home, but in Newcastle, I have those exciting things. Whereas when I'm at home for summer, often it's just working in the pub or doing a bit of gardening. It's fun and I love it, but it's not like that sort of that buzz, that sort of career buzz. You get something that
Okay.
buzz for
Yeah.
like doing something alongside your career. I'm not getting as much as that here. So maybe it feels like I'm waiting for that. But I've just noticed that sort of feeling within my days at times, like almost anticipating something to happen, but there isn't anything going to happen. So it's like I'm learning how to be a bit more present in those moments. But then you also get those moments where you don't feel that and you feel like you say when I did the podcast with the guest that's going to be coming out next weekend, like that is something I get that sort of buzz from. So I wasn't anticipating something else to happen. That was that thing. So maybe
Mm,
for me, like learning in those moments where I am anticipating something, how can I be more present in this moment? And that's probably just looking around me, observing what's going on and being in that moment. I don't know if you've ever experienced that feeling.
yeah, definitely. And perhaps maybe linking it to like spontaneity, like I think the only thing that I'm anticipating at the moment is something random happening. Like, and it's not really even anticipating it. It's kind of like just knowing that it will, because like this morning, I woke up at 12:30. Like, we'd had I've still got here actually the drink from last night, bedside, but I woke up at 12:30 and I woke up to a phone call. I'm like, well, who's calling? And it's Rebecca, obviously, whose house I'm staying in. And the dog's halfway down the street. Her son's had a party last night and let the gate open and whatever else. And stuff like that, you kind of, what the hell? But these kind of little random spontaneous things that happen in your day really make your day what it is. And it makes it more beautiful, even though that wasn't a particularly nice experience. These random things that happen, you should embrace them a little bit more, I think. I was speaking to someone when I was having a drink last night and they said to me, what's your plan when you're here? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I know in November I've got Oasis and that's it. That's the only thing I've got planned. Like, I don't know. How amazing is that? Like, how mint is that? The fact that you could just wake up tomorrow morning and you might just decide, fuck it. Pardon me, sorry. I just want to go to Uluru, or I want to go, or you could wake up in the morning and you go, you know what? I want to go on a walk with someone, or I want to go and coach a different team and put my name in this hat. Or do you know what I'm kind of trying to get at? It's like the anticipating thing is something that's natural because we've always mentioned it. We live in a country in the UK where like something is always going on and you have always got something planned. So naturally you're going to anticipate something happening, whether it's similar or something different. But I don't think people embrace the kind of randomness of life a little bit and kind of not knowing what happens next. I feel like they've always got to kind of peek at the next page before it kind of is natural to read it, you
Yeah,
know?
I know what you mean. And that links to like last week when we were talking about like planning and living. It's a bit like that, like that spontaneity and that randomness is the living. Whereas,
Yeah.
kind of peeking around the corner and thinking what's happening next is the plan. And it's finding a balance between having a plan, so you actually got stuff to do with your life and you know what you're doing, you've got a bit of a trajectory, and then actually just living that and like letting it take you in a way. I've got to give a shout out. One thing I didn't mention when I was at my granddad's was we had this funny waiter. I'm not even mentioning it to you, to be honest.
I never heard this
We
story.
went to this Indian. It's called Taj Mahal. We go there quite a lot when we're with my granddad. So we're all there, and it wasn't your typical like service we're used to. Like there was some new people working there. There was this guy called Ali, and his eyes, kid you not, were like this the whole time.
All
For the
right.
listeners, I've just made my eyes look really wide. He looked like he was on the bag or something. He's just a funny fella. But he made our night. He made our night, and we still talk about him to this day. And we can't wait to go back there as a family and go to Taj Mahal and hopefully see Ali. But it links to that sort of thing we talk about like people make a difference, and you need these characters in life. Do you know what I mean? Like these people who just you just don't expect them. You know, it's that randomness, and it's going to be interesting when you're at an Aussie to see those sort of characters you bump into. But there's people who are just their own thing. Like you've never met a single person like them before, and
Oh,
they just come out of nowhere. They're
yeah,
amazing.
we had some, we had some. Oh, how can I word it? Because I'm trying to be professional here. I didn't word it quite like this when I was telling Rebecca about it, but um, we had some people that I would assume are alcoholics that were on the beach the other day or at the beach front. And I was sitting eating an ice cream and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to come off my phone for a minute and just look around because I could hear Boney M, right? You know Boney M?
No, yeah,
Yeah, Boney M, right? They do the music and stuff.
like
And
D&B stuff.
no, not drum and bass, no.
Oh
Boney M. You don't know who Boney M is, Dan?
no, I recognise it.
Right,
Anyway,
okay.
carry on.
You need to look that one up, Dan. I'm not happy about that. You know, and I could hear Boney M anyway. And then I could just see these like three people just giving it all a bit of this. And they're all going mental, like getting like proper like groovy and stuff. And I'm like, what's this all about? And obviously it's these three people that are, you know, drug addicts or whatever, but they look like they're having the time of their life. And I thought, do you know what? Even though their situation is quite clearly more poor than mine is right now, just look at how much they're enjoying life. They're sitting on the beach, they're having a really cheap can of beer, and you know, things maybe aren't what they should be in their life or whatever, but they're just taking in the moment. And I thought that's really kind of made this moment for me. It was just dead funny. It was just dead funny and it was dead enjoyable. And sometimes the people making the moment doesn't always have to have like a positive backstory. You know what I mean? Because if you look deeply into that, you go, God, that's really sad, isn't it? Look at those three people, you know, and this and this. But really, they're just people enjoying the moment, you know. And I think everyone out here just enjoys the moment for what it is. Like everyone eats out, everyone gets coffee in the morning, everyone goes to the beach, everyone plays football wherever, rugby on the beach. Like no one cares, you know. And I feel like at home, it's so amazing to see the difference in contrast between two different societies. I've always said it's not somewhere. I think I enjoyed my time here the last time I was here, but I don't think I could live here. But I don't know. I'm questioning that. You know, it's such an amazing place.
Yeah.
But do you think that as a society, like not just the UK, but a lot of Europe as well, we do care a little bit too much about stuff we shouldn't really give a lot of time to?
Of course, of course. I think I'd probably say a lot of people aren't that free in themselves.
Hmm.
I'd say it almost feels like sometimes it's a bit rare when you come across someone who just doesn't give a single care about what anybody thinks, because often people do, and especially for where we've grown up in the UK, it seems like that, and you're saying that contrast to Australia, but I do think things are a lot less free at times around here. You know, people are a lot more preserved. You know, you wonder why that's the case, but I don't know. Maybe when I was starting uni, like often, I'll always remember when I was. It was the first time I met my tutor at uni. Probably about 20 of us in there, and it was so awkward. Like no one, poor guy Martin. No one was giving him anything. Like so, I just put my hand up and I started chatting to him, and it was almost like in this room of 20 people, just me and Martin were having a conversation. I ended up finding out how he met his wife. I ended up finding about what their first date was. Everything. I'm just talking to him, just me and him in this whole room, but like no one else was really talking much. But that got a couple other people like laughing and talking a little bit more. So I do think at times we are quite preserved as people, but it's because we have that safety barrier. A lot of us are worried about breaking that barrier because we're worried about what people think and we're worried about the consequences that might bring. But the best life, in my opinion, is, you know, attempting as much as possible to break that barrier. because it's important to. And, when one person seems to not care too much, it helps the other person. And like with those three people on the beach, they probably all have the same sort of energy. So it's almost that domino effect of like not really giving much of a damn. Do you know what I mean? I remember my dad once saying, like, when he got a bit older, like going to gigs and festivals, it's like, I want to dance a bit more. Like, I realized when I was younger, I wasn't dancing as much at the festival because I cared what people think, but I want to groove a bit. Kev wants to get a bit groovy. And it's
I'm getting
good.
groovy. I want to see this.
Like, it's important to understand, like, no one really cares unless you're doing something like which isn't good. Like, if you're having a dance and, dressing how you want to dress, like, the people that judge are the people that can't be themselves.
I agree. Yeah, I think being yourself is just so important, and like I've really enjoyed just kind of being myself a little bit, and but being a little bit kind of lazy in some aspects as well. Like I've just not really done a lot. I've just sat in bed, and like laid in a little bit. Obviously, other than the weekend, which was like early wake ups and stuff like that, and I didn't feel too good on Sunday. On Sunday, I had like a bit of a sort of like bad morning. Like I just felt really in a really bad mood. Um, I just didn't have a very good day. Yesterday. Not even because the things we did in the day weren't fun, but it was just like yesterday morning and afternoon. I just felt like, when you just wake up and you're like, today is just not my day. It was one of those kind of days. But the wave, it passed. The storm passed, I suppose, like it always does. But that was my first bad day out here. So, these things you kind of have to face them. But yeah, I would say that the pressure on you to be something you're not in the UK and a lot of other places, but mostly the places actually where I think social media is the most prevalent. I think, like in
Yeah, everything gets
the
filmed
UK,
these days, brother.
yeah, everything gets filmed, everything's photos, and it's actually something I said I do a lot of vlogs when I'm here, like daily, but I thought, you know what, I don't want to record everything. I don't want to. I'm going to do a video the next week, kind of documenting what my week's been like. That's all I want to do.
Make
I
it
feel like,
fun though. You know what I mean? Like, make it
yeah,
fun. Like, I think with your J's away, brother, I think it should be like a relaxed, like adventure sort of thing, like not too structured and like a bit goofy and stuff. Like, I think we should see that from you, man.
yeah. I think one day walking into the town would be quite fun because there is
Yeah,
character.
just call it that. One day walking into the town, and then it's just you, and you're doing that side quest, and you're talking to people and stuff. And like, oh hey, you don't mind getting in it? Do you know what I mean? Like, come in the vlog and stuff like that. Like, it's something we should all do, all apply to our lives, just being a bit adventurous.
It's great, and you meet so many different people. Like just meeting people is so cool. Like I just met two random people on the street that were just giving out samples for these restaurants they worked at, and like I just kind of got talking to them about what they do, and I want to know the best places to eat food because it's a good place to eat food. Like the amount of different cuisine you got here is great. And also shout out to Mikey who is the manager of the team that I coach at because his whole family is from Beeston Rylands, right?
That's
Which is
amazing.
crazy because he's what 12,000
Context, that's
miles
where
away.
Jamie grew up.
Which is where I grew up, obviously. So you've got two of Beeston Rylands' best managing out here in Australia.
That's
It's
amazing.
crazy. Um, but yeah, I think that there is a huge pressure on people to record everything, put it on Instagram, put it on. And don't get me wrong, there's still days where I kind of post some, like, oh, I need to put some on my Instagram. I do it, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing it, but I do. It's just like a random tick in my mind. Um, but in terms of like vlogging everything and doing that, because last time I took so many videos and photos, putting the phone down a bit more now and
Yeah,
just enjoying
100%.
that cup of tea in the morning,
Yeah.
enjoying watching that butterfly that lands on your leg randomly. Just these random things.
Yeah. I also want to mention on Saturday, I did a park run, and I started off quick. I was ahead of, the people I was running with, and all of a sudden, mate, like I just, when you're in a dream and you can't
Yeah.
run, like that was happening to me. Like I was trying to go quicker, but my legs just felt heavy. I couldn't run as quick as I wanted to, and I feel like right now I'm going through a bit of a running slump. I've done my 2 marathons, but ever since the last one, I remember stopping. And psychologically, that's kind of knocked me a little bit when I'm running now because I realize my mind kind of tells me to stop a bit quicker than it ever used to. And I've noticed psychologically that's affected me, and physically my body just feels a bit heavy. And I spoke to Bill, who is Riley's dad. We mentioned Riley on the podcast before, and he said just keep on running. You need to be running more because ever since the marathon, I've only been doing 1 5K a week. So I'm going to try getting to running more. I've joined Beeston AC, a local athletics club around here, doing my first run this week. So that'll be good. I'll let you guys know, the listeners, next week about how that went. But it kind of applies a bit to, in life when you go through a bit of a slump. You're losing a bit of confidence and things aren't quite going your way. We all have them. I used to call them bad luck sprees, where you're just on a bit of a domino effect of bad luck, or things just aren't quite going your way. And I think it's interesting what Bill said to me about just run a bit more and just do a bit more, keep going at it. And it's interesting with life because you can't really stop. You can be a bit stationary and you can slow things down and you can relax and you can rest, but things don't really stop. Life continues, and I think it's important sometimes just to keep with it. And in those moments where things are going tough and you're in a bit of a life slump, not everything has to be your maximum effort, but how can you just keep your life ticking a little bit in the basics? Are you waking up nicely? Are you brushing your teeth? Are you washing yourself? Just keep your life ticking in those moments where things are a bit tough. Just keep at it a little bit sometimes, I reckon.
And your body talking to you, is important because everybody faces different kind of like struggles in their life, and their bodies will tell them to do different things. I think when I went over on my ankle on Wednesday, I thought that was like me just saying, "You gotta stop playing, man." I was like, "You gotta stop playing."
Time to retire.
I felt like Reece James, like I just felt like I couldn't do it. I was just like, "What the hell's going on?" Every time I try and play something, it's wrong. But you kind of have to push through it, as you say, like, and you do just have to keep exercising. Like you said to me, I need to exercise a bit more to keep it warm and to keep it moving. And it's something I do need to do. So I'm going to get some running shoes, I think, in the next week, because we're going to like a Nike outlet up in Gold Coast. So I need to get some running shoes because it's such a good place to run. But listening to your body is kind of like you should and you shouldn't, like you should and you shouldn't, because as much as you should kind of listen to it when it's like you're doing too much, you got to slow down. At the same time, shouldn't you just push through that a little bit? Like, to what extent do you kind of push through it, or
Just
do
finding
you
that
listen?
balance, really, isn't it? Like sometimes it is good to keep pushing, and maybe I look back on that marathon and I could have carried on and kept going. But then also, like you say, sometimes you have to just like listen. Okay, this is a bit too much for my body. I think it's just being a bit in tune with your body and understanding what's best. And we often get that feeling of what is best, and I think it's just making sure we're applying ourselves to that. But is there anything else you want to say towards the end of this pod, Jamie?
I want to ask you if you picked up that microphone from my gaff, Dan.
I did, because I did it. I did
Have
it
you
with the
got it?
guests yesterday. I used the
Oh,
mic
you do,
yesterday.
yes. Yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah.
mum kindly gave it to me.
Have you fixed the side bits on it?
Yeah, it's all sorted, boss. Don't worry.
I wanted to ask you, but I completely forgot to do it on the pre-chat. But Dan, is there anything that you're looking forward to coming up this week? Nothing that you're anticipating, but something you actually know
I'm
is
looking
coming up
forward to doing my first run with Beeston AC, like I previously mentioned. I'm looking
fun
forward to watching England at the City Ground
tomorrow. Yeah.
um, on the day this podcast has been released. So that's going to be really good fun. Looking forward to spending more time with my girlfriend. Looking forward to Father's Day next Sunday. Go for some food with the family and that. So yeah, looking forward to that. How about you? Any Aussie adventures that are coming up, or is it just you're looking forward to the randomness?
Yeah, randomness. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. I was thinking about maybe getting a bike because we've got an e-bike, like a scooter sort of thing, and I'm thinking about going into the town centre on it. I don't know. I might do. I might not. But
Do it. Do
I
it.
said to them, I want to cycle it. I want to cycle into like Byron Bay, and they're like, "That'll take like 3 hours." I'm like, "I want to do it. I want to
Do it.
do it. Like, I'll just cycle. I'll cycle back." But it's whether they let me or not. I'll have to wait and see. But I want to do something cool tomorrow. I don't know what it is, but my heart's set on doing something mint. So I'll keep you updated, and I'll put it on the Making It Instagram if I do manage to do something sick. Um, but yeah, other than that, Dan, that's all I've got to say to you this week. But it's been an amazing, amazing podcast. I've loved it. I've loved talking about this week, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And make sure as well that after listening to this one, you listen to the one we've got coming out on Saturday at 10 a.m. because we've got a good one with Dan and Eve, and we'll also be making more Making It moments as well as time goes on. I'm working on a couple that have been trying to get for a little while, but we are going to get them over the line, and then see where we go from there. But Dan, episode 24. Take care of yourself, mate. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you on Tuesday next week.
Take care,
See you,
everybody.
bye.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Have a good one.